Hey folks, Kevin here. Well, it's October 8th, 2022, and we had some pretty high winds, a little bit of rain yesterday, just drizzly, very overcast and all. This morning looks like a better day. It's supposed to be cloudy, but I see some parting of the clouds, so we're going to get some sunshine this morning at least. We could get some rain, but it's all drizzle is what we've been getting. Yesterday we had some pretty high winds, so I wasn't able to get much done yesterday. One of my goals today is to work over here along this living fence line. One of the things that Thea and I, we had talked about, we had brought in the sand from the canal in here. We'd straightened up all of these trees here, and the goal was to put some of the fig trees in all along in here. So that's one of the things. A few of the pots got blown over there last night. But one of my goals is to come down and get these plants in the ground today and possibly work on some of the living fence over here. We have a whole bunch of berry bushes. So we have hostaberry bushes, we have elderberry bushes, we have some red currants, all bare root that we can get right in, fill in the voids amongst the high bush cranberries and all. We also have some of the curly willow, bare root or corkscrew willow that we can put in along this fence line that I've been working on for a few years. So we'll see. Thea and I may work on that somewhat today as well, but my first goal is getting these figs set in the ground. We won't be pruning those until we get a real hard frost, and then we'll see what else we get done today. It'd be real nice if we get more sunshine than what they're calling for. So let's see what we can do. Here we go. So the sun lasted about 15 minutes, but I was able to get the holes started with Elon. The first holes I actually put too far back, so I ended up coming back and moving them forward a little bit, closer on this side here. And you can sort of see the row of holes here. What I'm trying to do is keep everything in pretty much a nice straight line, so that I can get these all covered and insulated during the winter months without a whole bunch of extra work. Sort of like just putting a row cover over the whole thing. So it's raining now. It's up to 42 degrees Fahrenheit right now, but it's cold, it's damp, it's overcast, it's central New York fall weather. I like when the sun comes out to see all the beautiful leaves and all, but we're not going to have that. So I'm going to get back to work. Not sure how much video I'll be doing of this project. So back to work. Oh, I did bring over compost, so I have compost for each one of the trees as well. going to try and not let the camera lens get wet here. So it's been a constant drizzle all morning. Just had lunch, and it's time for me to backfill these areas. So got the figs in the ground, got the figs out of the pots, and some of them that was really challenging, really root bound inside of those pots. And I used Mini-Me, the Kubota B2601, to go and get a couple loads of compost, so that's put around them as well. And you'll see a lot of these shoots that came up in the last year. Some of them are bent down. I'm not worried about those. Those will shoot up next year as new growth, new shoots. So when we're growing them in pots, we may want them to be trees. In other words, a single trunk coming up and then bushing out, sort of like a vase shape. Whereas when we're planting them out here in Zone 5A, we're going to be pruning them off pretty darn close to the ground level. And so we're going to turn them into bushes, more like what this big bugger is, a bush. And we're putting them into a single row so that it'd be much easier for us to cover these up each fall and uncover them in the spring, once they go dormant and all. So I'm going to take Elon the excavator, come in here and push some of this soil around here, pack it down, get rid of any air voids. Fortunately, it has been raining, although it's a light mist. It's a little bit of junk in there all day. So all of this is nice, moist soil. So that's good. I did have to redig these holes and one at the other end, the biggest pot. But I think things are going to work out. Got to figure out where to put the camera so I can get Elon up here and get these things filled back in. Now some of these small limbs will get snapped off. That's okay. I'll ultimately be pruning this. This little shoot over here that's going to come off is a side shoot. That'll get buried, and next year a new stem will come up, and it won't produce much. It'll be lots of green foliage, non-productive, but I'll prune that off at about 10 to 18 inches off ground level next fall this time, and the following year that'll produce a lot of fruit. That's if everything goes as planned. Okay, coming from the cold northeastern part of New York State, time to get back to it and see if I can get this covered up. I got the other thing, Thea was able to, she took Pepe and loaded up a bunch of the hostaberry, the bare root hostaberry plants, and most of the curly or corkscrew willow trees, got those all along the other fence line, all along that side of the property. That's 395 feet long. And I have oak trees and curly willows, lots of elderberry plants over in there. And so we'll look around and see what else needs to get filled in. But maybe next year I'll take down the cedar boards like we took down the cedar boards here, or I'll wait until the year after everything grows up real well and gets well grown in. So we'll see. So I'm gonna hop on Elon now and see what I can do here. Okay, well, we've made some progress. There's a little break in the rain right now, and was able to use Elon to go through and fill in most of the voids in between each one of the fig trees and around the fig trees. Now remember, we have compost around each root ball, and then I used the rake to clean up some of it. So it's not looking too bad. So here we are at one end of the area here. Not looking too bad. We won't be pruning these until we get a really hard frost and all the leaves come off. And pretty happy with how well it's come out. Some of the ones will take a little while, like this one will take a while for it to turn into a bush, but pruning it off right about here or here will send up several shoots, and within 2 years there'll be a bunch of shoots coming up from the root mass themselves. This one will be easier. This one will start growing like crazy next year. Same with this one here and here and down here as well. So not too bad. Now we still have a lot more work to do along the living fence here, because we need to control the quack grasses and all the weeds. I would love to get lemon balm back in here. We have some that we can plant up, but I would ideally want to get cardboard down to help sheet mulch to keep some of the weeds from coming up. The sand won't do a good job of suppressing the weeds by themselves. And the other good reason, if I ever need to put a drip irrigation over here, it'd be much easier to water all of these figs with a simple single run of drip irrigation here, instead of coming out here and using the hose during our droughts and all. So I may end up setting that up next season, but right now trying to decide what else I need to put in over here. Do I want to try and plant some clover seed in here? We didn't have the greatest success in the central garden, I'm sorry, the eastern garden plot with clover seeds, but it did come up. It just took a long time. I'll have to check if fall sowing is reasonable. But ideally putting down cardboard, then putting down some soil on top of that, some compost on top of that, or some mulch on top of that, and then putting the clover seed in and poking holes in the cardboard to plant the lemon balm or anything else that we want to plant in here. But we have the 2 tree lines. We have the curly willow or corkscrew willows, like these ones right here, all along in here. And hopefully these will, since they've got good roots now, these should all take off next spring. We got the comfrey along the base on the hillside here. I'd like to put more comfrey in up the rest of the hillside there. And then get something as a good ground cover, because I can always mow out close to this edge here. And the deer, although they will munch on the fig some, they really don't munch on it. I mean, you know, considering all the trees that the deer do munch on, they really don't go after our fig trees very much at all. They taste them and say, nope, I don't like them that much. So that's where we're at. I got mini me over there. Thea needs some more compost for potting up pots, and maybe I'll go down and back, since I've used up all of the sand that I harvested from the canal system, and that's 2 or 3 times this season. I may take Elon down there, even though it's a pain in the butt trying to get it out of there with all the water in the canal. Harvest some more sand for doing around the western garden beds that we talked about before. So that's going to wrap up this video. If you have any comments or questions, please leave them below. Appreciate you tuning in and watching this. Appreciate a thumbs up if you think this video deserves it. And by all means, folks, take good care of yourselves and enjoy the weather wherever you are. Take care now. Bye-bye.